everybody. It is Thursday, April 23rd, 10:01 a.m., 2026. So thanks for being here. This is our company meeting. All right.
Well, you're in charge of slides. Next slide, Holly.
Josh.
Here we go. Don't find your customers' products, find products for your customers. So I put this up. I had a conversation with an agent who is over on the East Coast, and we were talking about prospecting. He's had kind of a rough start to his year. And it was interesting because talking to him, he was so focused on the inventory and trying to, find like inventory for people and all those type of things. And I think I asked him how big his database was, and he has a good sized database. He's been in business a while. He has a lot of things, and I think he wasn't focusing on his clients. He was so focused on what was going on with the inventory and all that type of stuff that he just wasn't focusing on his clients, and it was causing a lot of problems. So if you guys haven't read any of Seth Godin's any of his books, they're really good. He's like a marketing genius. But you're much better off to focus on your clients and try to find them products, and don't try to find products for clients that you don't know yet.
Love it.
I love this. It reminds me of every time you tell me the story, Sandy, about YouTube.
I was literally thinking of that example. Did you guys know that YouTube started off as a dating service? And so they wanted people to upload dating videos, and they were hoping to make money on the men videos and have women upload videos for free, but the women weren't obviously uploading videos because men are creeps. And it started to turn into like what the fan base started using YouTube for was what they wanted. So they could have sat there and started to push back and be like, this is our vision for this system. And someone else would have invented YouTube. They would have found another way to have a huge, wonderful YouTube. So that really does remind me of that example. And another example that I was thinking of, Holly, is I really, when I was actively, like when I was at the peak of my real estate production, trying to find my identity, find my online identity as an agent, I really didn't want to be identified as like that veteran realtor, like veteran this and that, right?
Right.
But everybody was like, they were identifying me as that. Vets were coming to me because they knew that that's what I was all about, and they knew that I knew those programs inside and out, and they related to me about it. And so why was I fighting against that so hard? I mean, those were my people that came to me. Like, your people are going to find you, and you shouldn't buck that. There's another guy that said, he started getting shared around in some mom's group, and that's the niche that he started like leaning in on, and he never thought that that would be who he'd lean in on, right? So find out what is working and don't fight it, like lean into it.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So I'm so good at selling $5 houses.
I mean, really.
All right, our core values. We love to talk about these each week, but specifically, was there one thing that really stood out to any of you this week that you want to kind of talk about in your work, in our company, home life? Brian said unproductive conversations with CenturyLink. Well, they clearly don't have our core values, do they?
I would say pivot fast, play smart. The market is picking up here in the Des Moines area, and so I've had a lot of showings cancel, and then as well as Rose had a scheduled appointment where it went under contract, and then I had recommended to her, since her clients were interested, for a backup offer, but definitely like you gotta be quick and then as well as be efficient with your time.
I think for me this week, it's business over buzzwords. So there's a lot of companies that love, or agents even, that love to use these, buzzwords that sound really great on paper, but they don't back it with any action. And we at this company have had a ton of adversity thrown our way. And the leadership here, every single one of us have worked countless hours and super late nights to back up what we say we're going to do, which is, support the agents, make them the best agents in the business, make sure that they can support their clients in the best way. And I mean, we're all about business instead of just talking the talk. So I just want to say that.
You want to talk about our leadership slide?
This is your leadership team. Actually, thanks and shout out to Kyle Reese, who forced us to develop this slide. But, honestly, we're growing quickly, and, people start posting in your Slack channels and you're like, who the hell are you? And what is it exactly that you do here? What is it you say you do here? And so, yes, Josh is a South Dakota broker, but Josh is our director of advancement. He is there to help agents grow and advance in their careers. And so we wanted to make sure we put these titles in the slide. So it's not like you're going to the South Dakota broker in that capacity. You're going to him for that hat that he's wearing. That's what he's here for at this company in that capacity. So this is your leadership team.
I want to take a minute just to say that we didn't make a big announcement yet, and we weren't really sure how to handle it, but I just want to talk about it for a minute. So when we first started the company, Sandy Lynn and I were like, we're yin and yang, which we very much are yin and yang. And we decided Sandy would be an amazing CEO. And I do not regret that decision for a minute. So by default, I was the COO, right? Because every business needs a CEO and a COO. So for the last year, I've been doing my best. But sometimes your best is just not good enough. But it's not just that. What I mean is, like, my natural talents are not necessarily organization at the end of the day and operations. It's brokerage operations. It's doing the things. It's figuring out problems, finding solutions to problems, and creating problems to then find solutions for. So those are the things that I'm really good at. And so we were so excited the weekend that Sandy and I were talking about stuff. And we were like, well, we're totally underutilizing Kyle because she's, out of everybody in this company, she is the most organized, multitasking, organized person that I've ever met. And so we decided, like, hey, let's just shake things up and see how this goes. And I will just say that we've been playing, we've been in our new roles for, I don't know, about 2-3 weeks now. And I feel like this weight has been lifted off my shoulders. It's really freed me up to be a broker again. Most of my agents know, like, I've been able to touch base with you now and like schedule appointments. And it's really freed me up to do the things that I'm naturally good at. And also our business has just made so much advancement from it. So I just wanted to address that head on because I'm really excited about it. And you guys may not have even noticed the title change, but I wanted to talk about it.
And I'm so glad that you took the opportunity to talk about this, Holly, because like I said, I had a meeting with a VP at a competing brokerage this week, and I was explaining how we changed direction at this company and we changed the positions of some of our leaders, and his eyes grew into saucers and he could not comprehend that our business partnership not only, survived, but thrived under it, because so many other people are so egotistical and like just driven on like titles or what would people think or anything like that. Whereas at this company, it's like, hey, where are your strengths? how we care, Holly cares about what's best for this company and how she can best serve the agents and the staff and everything. Like we all do. That's why we built this company. And so that goes down to our very beginning vision. And she was like, I agree. Like Kyle is like, she's like, Kyle will be better at this than me. Like, let's do it. And so just so you know how significant of a change this is, Kyle, her title is Director of Operations, but she is the number 2. She reports directly to me, and she's the only one who reports directly to me, and everybody else reports directly to Kyle. And somehow she's still your TC right now. I don't know what I don't know what's going on. Like it's incredible. It's incredible what she's doing. Eventually we'll backfill the TC. There's no way, like, I don't know, but she's like, hey, I'm good. She's handled 150 transactions, active transactions in a month before, like in her TC days. So I mean, she's fine. She's like, yeah, this is child's play, whatever, I'm good. So Kyle has just been absolutely amazing in this position. Holly says she feels a weight lifted off of her. I feel the same way. I feel like this company is going to be unstoppable. Now that we are pivoting fast, playing smart, we have the right people in the right areas to become a powerhouse. So I just wanted, yeah, congratulations, Kyle. But
Yes.
also thank you for your sacrifice, because you really rogered up to a lot of responsibility, and you took it without batting an eye. And we gave you like full access into the company, and you faced it head on, and you're like, all right, I got a plan, this is what we're gonna do. And you guys, she keeps me in line. Sometimes she's like, yeah, we're not gonna make that joke. And I'm like, all right, Kyle.
She keeps me on task. She's great.
Yeah, she's just awesome. So yeah, thank you for everything. I don't know if you want to say anything, Kyle, but
nope, this has been a lot. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm really happy to be here, and it's a team effort at the end of the day. None of us can succeed unless we're all in it together. So,
all right, next slide.
Ooh, command brief. Josh, are you there?
Nope, he's away.
Okay. Josh wrote an amazing article on part 2. So for those of you that didn't know, he has like a weekly feature now in Inman, which is one of the industry's leading like website media where people get their information and news. And so this is, I believe, part 2 of what he did last week, which was talking about lead magnets, 3 different channels that work when you commit to them. And I just talked to Lady, and we're going to make sure we get all these on the blog. They haven't been getting there, long story. And so you'll be able to read it. I'll be sure to share it in Water Cooler, so that way you can all read it. Inman requires a subscription, so that's why I have to do that. So phenomenal job, Josh. And do you want to talk about it now that you're back?
No, so this was part 2 of an article that I wrote last week. So this has the actual like lead magnets and stuff that you can use, and examples of them. The first article was just about what makes a good lead magnet. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
Also, I would say, I don't want to speak for Josh, but he got offered a weekly, contributor slot because he was so consistent and providing such high quality articles with LinkedIn, developing relationships like we've taught you, as one of our core values. And look, it paid off. Next slide.
Trainings. So we, always do trainings every day. Monday is our workshop day, and we have Zillow Pro is going to be doing a whole like 45-minute like walkthrough of with our Zillow Pro Success Manager, setting up our Zillow Pro profiles, how to leverage that in Follow Up Boss. Because all of our systems talk to each other. So as we get further and further along, it's going to be really exciting to see this whole like ecosystem and how it supports us and our agents and moving our businesses forward. I don't know yet if it will be on our Zoom or their Zoom, but we'll definitely let you know that morning, if not before. And then Brian's graciously offered to hang out in here and kick you over to the other place if necessary. So,
and I want to add on to that real quick. So I think it's super important to come to these Mondays because we're trying to ease you into this ecosystem. So come to this Monday, set up your shit in Zillow. You know, last Monday was make sure your shit's set up in Follow Up Boss. And eventually we'll tie it all together and it won't feel overwhelming, right? This is why we're doing this for you, is just a little, you know, that one bite at a time to eat that elephant. So this is for you, so you don't feel that, you know, weight on your chest of that overwhelming feeling. Tuesday is another episode of True Crime and Real Estate. I try to find different topics to change it up, and I found out that the Department of Justice just convicted somebody on this short-term rental scam. And so I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to cover this. We haven't done anything like that. Could you imagine booking an Airbnb and then you're there with your luggage and they switched around your, hey, this one's not available, but we found you a better unit. And turns out they had no rights to even accept your booking in the first place. These were like fake listings. It's a huge scam that happened. So yeah, I'm very excited to present that episode to you. Want to talk about Wednesday? Lindsay, are you on to talk about Wednesday?
Sorry about that. It took me a minute to get unmuted. Absolutely excited about Wednesday. You know, we talk about top producing agents and high producing agents. When you get a lot of volume, you really need to lean on your support. And you know what? Support is the name of the game here at my real estate company. We have a great support staff. TC Services, in my opinion, and what I've seen across the board, is some of the best out there. So very excited to talk about how to leverage your TC service to help you level up and become more successful, close more deals, as well as save you time. Some may not know that there's a whole marketing aspect to our TC services. I mean, think about it. Have all your documents compliant and then put together, saving you time there, and then also creating ads for you on social media. It's a no-brainer in my book, but we're going to share more information at the class next Wednesday.
Thank you, Lindsay. Excited.
yeah. Any updates from My Real Estate Show?
So we just we are in our platform of choice, which is called Riverside. And we kind of got in there and have been messing around. And I'll tell you guys right now, I have a whole new respect for professional podcasters, professional YouTubers. It is quite the undertaking for Josh, Brian, and myself. I will also say there is something to be said for, again, I keep telling you guys this, something to be said for putting yourself out there. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen if you ask a question, if you ask a favor of somebody or whatever? So I reached out to several real estate agents that I either know or maybe have never met, but like we follow each other. Maybe I've never talked to them. Ooh, this is a long shot. They have 50,000 followers. I don't know what they'll say. And hey, this show hasn't even launched yet. We have no followers. Would you be interested in coming on as a guest? And I will tell you this is something I want to talk about. The agents with the most followers and the biggest personalities were the first ones to say, yes, I would love to. Sign me up. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for thinking of me. And the ones with way less followers and way less personality are like, you know, they were cool, but they're like, oh, tell me more about it. Like, what is, you know? And so I just want to kind of give you guys that lesson when it comes to opportunity. If something's given to you, handed to you, try to come from a place of yes. Try to seize that opportunity, because it might not come around again. Oh, maybe it's not at the perfect time for you. Maybe you'll have to move something around. But yeah, I was like, that is a trend. The most followers the biggest personalities, the most successful agents were the ones that were like, yes, I would love to. And plus it was really nice. It was a nice feeling for me that I put myself out there. I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder who's going to say yes. And they were all like very gracious. So it was cool.
Can't wait to see more.
Yeah, we're excited.
Lindsay, how's that co-working space going?
Co-working's been really fun. I've actually had a handful of agents and leaders drop in. It's been nice strategizing. I know that it's been great for me in the time I've spent there as well. So I'm really excited about my pipeline and the deals I have going. And I got to say, I did want to thank Damien. Damien came in and we had a great strategy session, and I've learned so much from him during his follow-up boss training that, it was really beneficial to see even some of our tools and how that helps with our pipelines as well.
I know I come to try to visit you once in a while.
Can I just bloviate on that one for a quick sec?
Yeah.
Guys, when I was in we're off of Canva, just so you know. When I was in the previous virtual brokerages, I was happy that I joined a virtual brokerage because I felt like I felt like I was able to form deeper connections and deeper relationships with other agents that I wasn't able to in physical offices. But I felt like very alone because I didn't have that co-working vibe because everybody's kind of doing their own thing. And we created this for you. I'm getting my internet fixed, I swear. We created this for you to have that. And it's only there if you all use it. And you know what? You could go in there, you could have your mic off and your camera off, and you're like not even talking to anybody, but like just having somebody there, like a few people in there just to know you're not alone, that you could open your mic and ask a quick question to anybody. That's what Holly and I used to do all the time when we were creating this brokerage. We would work out of Zoom late at night, just share our screen every now and then go off camera and mute and, keep working our project. But if we ever needed to, we would, share our screen. Hey, I got a quick question. And just to have that feeling. So don't place that pressure on yourself that you have to follow the themes or anything crazy like that. I just wanted to let you know that these brokerages aren't giving you that. They aren't giving you the opportunity to form that connection and that accountability. So that's all I got.
All right. Lindsay.
Hey y'all, we are, we wanted to give you a little bit of a update on Zillow Showcase now that we've rolled it out. It's a new product that we're, as agents, using for marketing. And I actually had an experience with Zillow Showcase I wasn't truly ready for. However, I wanted to share it with you. Zillow Showcase is so detailed and so over the top that we realized when selecting a Zillow Showcase home, you actually need to also make sure that your clients are comfortable with the level of detail that will be done in the 3D walkthrough. Unlike when we get to choose the photos and the angles, and maybe we have the camera edit out personal items and photos and other things that are highlighting who the client is and their personality, that all will show up in the 3D walkthrough experience. So you have to have a conversation with your clients and ask them if they're going to be willing to what we would call depersonalize the home, take down family photos or any personal items that they don't want the general public to see. This is something that I wasn't aware of because I'm used to, we're all used to, hey, can we edit that out? And you cannot edit those items out. So you really need to have that conversation with your client and make sure that they're up for the challenge of preparing the house for the detailed Zillow Showcase presentation. I will tell you, it is stellar. I have never experienced that level of detail before. You do get more eyeballs, higher engagement, and that listing, all those leads come back to you directly. So it's an amazing tool at an amazing price. We actually get one of the best prices out there for a brokerage. Other brokerages have the same offer for almost $7.99, and we get it $2.99 per listing. So definitely reach out if you want to know more about my experience. But that was something we wanted to highlight, that the showcase is so detailed. You also need to check with your clients about participation. Not just is the home beautiful and worthy of a showcase, but if the clients want to be involved at that high level.
Kyle.
Morning. I just have one slide today. Just wanted to give some April shout outs. Emily, you have had 3 closings in April. Amazing job. Justin did our first Iowa 2 closing, and Josephina has the newest listing. We listed it last night, so good job.
Congrats, you guys. I love seeing all the activity. This
I'm just
spring
seeing a lot of Iowa. That's all I have to say. Good job, Iowa.
Brian, you got some internet stuff for us.
Yep. And this is topical. So I know, like before, I've talked about, reboot your laptop, update and reset your cell phone, keeping your devices fresh. Check the internet side of it as well, because sometimes if things are running slow, it's not the device, it's your internet. So one of the more popular sites is that speedtest.net website. The biggest things to look for there are on the right side. If you look at the slide, you can see your location. So pick one that's like close to you. Because if you're trying to get your speed, you don't want to be running it to somewhere halfway around the world, because that's going to be slower. And then make sure that your upload and download speeds are close to what you're paying for. If it's a little above or a little, like, that's great. But even if it's a little bit below, like, if you're paying for a gig, which should be 1,000 and you're getting like 965, there are variations and delays and things in there. But if you're getting within like 5 to 10%, that's normally pretty on average. But if you're getting way below that, like half or less, restart the home router. Either on, like what I normally do is just unplug it, wait about 30 to 60 seconds and plug it back in. Hopefully, if you're doing that more than like once a month, I would call the provider and get something to look at that. But for the most part, I try to do this, every other month or so when I, remember it. And it's, not a huge deal. You shouldn't have to do it that often. The other things to look for. So on the next slide, I think I go into speedtest.net. That's the big one. Your actual home router, like I said, unplug that. The other thing to do is, as like newer Wi-Fi's come out, like we've all probably seen the cell phones go from 4G to 5G, LTE to whatever. If your router, if you haven't replaced that in 5+ years, maybe double check what it can support, because that may be the bottleneck, is a slow home router just because it can't support the newest Wi-Fi. So you may have to go out and buy a new device, and that will boost your home speed up to what you're getting. So double check that your devices support the wireless or the speed you're paying for. And the first thing is, don't just go buy new stuff. Reset everything, try to get the best out of the equipment you have. And if even at its freshest and newest and just reset, if that's not good, then you may need new equipment. But don't just go out and spend money on the first thing. So that's just the stuff I wanted to focus on this week. Is you may need to call your provider, but we all try to avoid that at the most as we can. So reset your devices and run a speed test to make sure things are good. Save those screenshots, or screenshot when you run your speeds. If you do that, once or twice a week in different times of the day, make sure that you're getting consistent speeds throughout the day. And, over time, save them in a folder and make sure that it's, staying good. And also, if you do have to contact support, you can give them this history of like, I've done this every day for, a week here, and these are the results. It's not just like, it's slow right now, so I called you. So yeah, check your speeds, reset your devices, and as a last resort, reach out to the providers. And as always, if you have any questions or issues or anything, let me know.
That's a great tip. I wouldn't have thought to like document it. I mean, it makes sense. Like when I go to the doctor, they're like, "Well, tell me about your, how often do you get those headaches or whatever." So like that makes perfect sense that they'd be able to help you more if you were able.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Well, it was kind of weird because when I was on the phone this morning, it almost felt like a gotcha, because he was like, "Well, when's the last time you did reset it?" Because I was like, "Look, I've been doing these hard cycle resets, and I was like, I don't know, a couple of days yesterday. I have no concept of time now that I work around the clock. And he's like, oh, well, according to my records, it was 6 days and 7 hours ago. And I was like, is this a guy? Like, what are you doing? But so if you do document it, you gain credibility with these people.
Yeah, and on the back of that, like they ask that because so many people don't ever. Like they never reset anything. They never, and it's like, there's nothing I can do on my end. Just unplug this and plug it back in, and everything will be fine. And just do that, every once in a while, and then you don't have to go through the call. But yeah, like if you call tech support and you're like everything's running slow, it's like, well, I don't know how to fix that. But if you're like, these are the speeds I'm getting, this is like the result. Like if you give them data and numbers, that usually helps. And then like if they have to escalate it to a higher tier of support, they can use that to show they've done everything they can too. So like, yeah, screenshots, documentation, like actual numbers rather than feelings. Like that's what we want to go on in IT is it just your browser that runs slow, or is it everything? Like if I try to open a program or like just open a picture, if everything's slow, it's the computer. If it's only like streaming services, it's the internet. So we're trying to identify where the issue is so that we can fix the issue, because there is no like one big fix it all button. So that does help. Thank you.
All right, we got some national news to talk about. So it's Fair Housing Month. So as we wrap it up, I wanted to make sure you knew this was happening today. If you're interested, let me grab the link for you. I figured out a new trick last night. And so, oh, except that's not the right link. Okay, anyways, I'll get you the link. And so NAR is having a Fair Housing Forward Live event online today at 12 o'clock Central. If you want to find out more, having lots of important people there to talk. So, but I really wanted to talk about credit scores. Brennan, not to put you on the spot because we haven't had time to talk about it, but I think that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have been talking for quite some time actually to like update kind of how they run credit and everything. Do you have any insight on that? And then I can tell you what I learned.
Yeah, hopefully it's right. Hopefully we have the same info. I know they added in, I think it's called Vantage Score. So it's not the normal tri bureau of the three major bureaus. So they're adding another one that you can do. They've also lowered the floor on a lot of the programs. So on some programs you had to have a minimum score, like say 580, which it's still tough to get anything kind of below that. But in some programs, there's no minimum score now. So they'll look at a lot of other factors and not just go based on the credit score. So that kind of where you're going with that?
Yeah, definitely. They're saying that this should impact hundreds of thousands of buyers, people that weren't able to buy before, because what really is going on is that now they can run this Vantage score and it will include you paying your rent and utility payments. And there's a couple of ways it's not automatic though. You have to actually like opt into one of the credit bureaus has like that boost program. Experian, I think, has that boost program. And then there's some other programs as well. And then I was researching it and I don't know about you guys, but I didn't really know the history of the whole credit score situation. So I was like, what does FICO even mean? And so I went down this rabbit hole, and FICO stands for Fair Isaac Corporation because it was founded by Bill Fair and Earl Isaac in 1956 as a way to help companies and people determine someone's credit worthiness. But it only looked at specific metrics. And so what Vantage Point is going to do is look at the whole thing. So for decades, because this thing was founded in 1956, so for decades, FICO was the only score we went off of, right? So the three credit bureaus actually got together and created Vantage Score. So the credit bureau is the one collecting the data and selling our data, mind you. And then the score itself and how that comes about is through FICO. So Advantage Score was created by the three credit bureaus, which I just thought was fascinating. So basically, because I didn't even know that like it wasn't none of those are like government overseen entities. So these are just like third-party people that were like, hey, we're going to tell you how creditworthy somebody is. So I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to share that with you. I can't see your face. Did you guys think it was interesting?
I
Very
thought it was
interesting,
very
Holly.
interesting. Very interesting,
Absolutely.
Holly.
Okay, thank you. All right. So next slide. Okay, so wire fraud. So Inman wrote an article recently about wire fraud. This is not new to us. We talk about wire fraud all the time and how important it is for us to tell our clients about wire fraud, right? We have our wire fraud advisory. And while buyers are usually the main target, they are not the only target. So it turns out like 1 in 4 people in real estate are being targeted. So I always tell my clients, like, don't post anything on social media till after we close because that makes you a target. You know, the more you talk about it, the more it's drawing attention, the more they try to figure out who's involved. They can get into your client's email, agent's email, the lender's email, all the people that are part of this email process, and then they swoop in at the last minute with fake wire instructions. So some of the things that we can do to help protect our clients, right, is talk about it early and often. Remind them, especially as closing's coming up, like don't just wire money willy-nilly, like people have lost their life savings. And you may even have to, you may even have to tell a story. So we'll find some stories that you can lean into because stories retain, right? And remind them to always verify with a trusted number, not the number in the email. Another thing is red flags. Like, is it urgent? Are they saying hurry up or we made a change? Any kind of request, like don't tell anybody. Those are all red flags. And then one thing I don't hear very often, I heard a long time ago, was close midweek when possible. So once money's wired, it's pretty much gonzo. But if you close on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and your buyers are wiring their money on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, you have a better chance of getting it back than if it happens at 1 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, right? Or the Friday before a 3-day weekend. So just, keep that in mind when it makes sense for your clients. They don't always have to move in the day that they close either. So I would balance urgency with safety in those cases. But Brennan, have you ever seen any wire fraud, or do you have any horror stories being in the industry?
I don't have a horror story myself. I've seen it. I've got the emails for wire fraud, and a lot of attorneys around here actually don't like to do wires. They won't share out their wire info unless they're very familiar with who they're working with. And in a lot of cases, if they do share it, they call and verify everything before they actually do anything because it is so bad. So yeah, it's definitely something to watch out for. Luckily, I haven't run into it myself or any of my clients, but that's not the case for everybody. It's scary.
Yes, it is. And we just got a wire, and I believe they did that, right, Kyle? They already knew our number. They called to verify the numbers that we sent them.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. It's also why we don't just put it on a form and we're like, we'll work it out with that closing company in advance. So, all right.
I did want to ask Holly, this graphic is amazing. Would you mind dropping it in our shared Canva so other agents and could share it? Because I really love this to pass on to a client.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love that. So we'll do it. I don't have anything for Iowa. Do any of our brokers have any state or local updates? Anything that we should be sharing out today? Reminders. Moving on. I didn't pick a social media post for the week because I really didn't see any that were like stand out amazing. Not that you didn't do great, but I wanted to focus on our challenge of the week. So we haven't done this before, but Sandy's been talking and really harping, right, on how we need to just get in front of the camera. So for the next 7 days, I'm challenging you, and I'm going to do it myself because I'm also guilty of this. But I challenge you to post a reel a day. So whether you go live or you record a reel, just post it. And I swear my feeds are just full of people talking about yapping to the camera, which I feel like we all, being agents, have the gift of gab. So, I think this is really important. Be vulnerable, be yourself. You know, it's okay to make those mistakes. And, oh yeah, that's one of the things I want to talk about was referral fees. So one of the rants I'm going to do today, by the way, is we got a company that reached out to us this week and was like, "Hey, I have a lead for you. It's 50%." And I was like, gas to the flabber. Now, new agents, maybe that makes sense, right? Like something is better than nothing. But as soon as you start doing like deals regularly, you start to see, you start to track, you know, you take Josh's information and Lindsay's information and you start tracking your expenses, you start to see how wild that is because they're cutting so much into your margin, right? And you're the one doing all this work. So like, anyways, so I'm going to do a rant about that.
And by the way, I love that you put what you would rant about right there because, you know, here's the thing. If I saw a reel on that, I would take that and then react to it with my reaction, which is, you know, my 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Like I've definitely charged 50% of a referral fee before because I could either do it myself and keep 100%, or do you want it? Do you? You know what I mean? So like you could also, if you don't know what to talk about, like scroll through and watch other people talking and then like reply to it and then do your own reel and just like we talked, like right there, I could totally just bounce off of Holly and do that. And then it gives Holly more visibility. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, exactly. So because we haven't officially rolled out the My Credits program yet, what we're going to do is if you post all 7 days from today to next Wednesday, then I'm going to enter you into a drawing for a $50 gift card. So, and we'll do that at the company meeting next Thursday, should anybody do all 7 days. So, also, in case you weren't paying attention, I did go live on Instagram yesterday, and I said it was day one of going live until I get over my fear of public speaking or I become famous, whichever comes first. So, that's what I did yesterday, in case you weren't paying attention. Okay. Where did it go? Man, I came up with a jingle I wanted to play for you guys. Now I can't find it. Whatever. Okay, so tea time with Holly. That last night when I was like doing research, like what should I talk about? I saw a story that just happened this month. So imagine being at home and like just talking to your family and you're like, oh, I haven't heard from, you know, our brother or cousin, whatever, in a couple of months. And someone's like, oh, that's no big deal. He travels for work. You know, he's a 60 something bachelor. He's got nothing holding him down. And then you hear that he sold his house. And you're like, what? So turns out that Ted is the brother we're talking about. And his brother, Ken here, decided he was going to sell his brother's house by pretending to be him. So he sells this 3-bedroom, $185,000 house in Georgia, 3-bedroom, 1 bath, $185,000 house in Georgia. He shows up to closing with his brother's ID and um and then nobody knows about it for 3 days. So he sold it on like the 7th. And on the 10th is when the family like put all these things together. And they're like, we haven't heard from Ted. And he just sold his house. And so they go, you know, they report him missing. They go knock on the door. Some lady answers. She's like, I just bought this house. So they start questioning the neighbors. And the neighbors are like, yeah, it's so weird. Like he usually takes such great care of his lawn, but he's really let it go lately. And then a couple weeks ago, we thought it was him and then realized it was his brother, but his brother spent all day in the backyard, like digging and stuff. So I don't know, more to come. We'll probably cover it on True Crime Tuesday when we have more information, but we definitely have a case of a missing person, a case of stolen identity and mortgage fraud, and I think we might have a case of murder. So it'll be really interesting to hear how that goes. Any thoughts?
He's a rascal, man.
Little rascal. All
Yeah,
right.
anytime I hear like we haven't seen this guy in a couple days and there was digging in the backyard.
I know, right?
The guy was just planting rhododendrons for curb appeal or
Yeah,
something.
we're just helping him out. He's on vacation. All right, awesome. Well, that concludes our meeting officially. Does anyone have any alibis, anything they want to talk about before we get going? Kate has a dance competition tomorrow in Omaha. So I believe it's live streamed. So I'll drop the link in the children's channel or, the Kids of MyRECo channel for any of you that want to watch it. She's got her solo and her trio, but she's pretty excited.
Hey, I just want to say from the start of this meeting, all of the growth and everything there, like you guys get me fired up. So I'm super excited to hopefully next week get in full time on the leadership over here, and really hit the ground running. That's why, I got to kind of wait to go full in on the social media stuff, but I'm going to be there. But it gets me fired up. I'm pumped
I
up. I'm
can't
real
wait,
excited.
Brennan. Like, and how much you've like plugged in and supported prior to even being officially on board. I'm excited to have you officially on board and unleash you into the world.
I know, like I'm ready to go. I feel like I've had this ball and chain, but I'm ready to go. So hopefully next week's the week. Everything's official, everything's done, and we hit the ground running. I'm ready to go.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you all. So proud of our agents and our staff here. Proud of what we're growing. Holly, close us out.
All right. When in doubt, reach out. Message us if you need us. We are here for you. We all started this morning with a blank slate at 0. So go out and talk to a buyer, a seller, or an agent today. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye, everybody.